Hi Brianna, how are you going? So this is me just talking through your investigation. Um, look, what I feel like is it just needs a little bit of ironing out. You seem to have kind of chopped and changed and got a little bit lost along the way. And so I started getting myself really confused when I read through it. So what we just need to do is just strip it back, get it back on track, and you'll be all good. So what I did was you've got this lovely question. Do participants with musical training recall lyrics faster than those who are not musically trained? That's all good. And then you brought in memory rating in teenagers. So I've just said just delete that because that's just bringing in a completely different variable that it's not adding to your study. This bit here, where you said each participant has to time how long it takes their partner to remember nursery rhymes, that's just getting a little bit confusing. And I think it's confusing because we were experimenters and we were participants. So don't even talk about like you being the experimenter, just talk about the participant. So if you just said, something along the lines of each participant is timed while they recall lyrics, that would be fine. Now you've said 27 trials at the top, and I know that we certainly talked about you using all 27 trials, but then I got a little bit confused when I went down to your results because I could only see 3 trials. And then, where was it? In this bit here, you talked a little about how trial 1 represents step size 3, trial 2 represents step size 5, and trial 3 represents step size 7. Again, I was just, it's not written clearly what you've actually done. So I'm going to ask you, what did you do? How did you get these numbers? And if this is a combination of the 3 different trials while people were recalling step size 3, don't call it trial 1 because it's quite misleading. Just call it step size 3, step size 5 and step size 7, and rename it down here as well. I think that will clarify it for me. So going back up to this bit here, so after 27 trials, I think you should probably say this bit here. So the average for each step size, so just explain, there was like 3 different trials for step size 3, step size 5, step size 7. You calculated the average and you've put it in a graph. Just explain exactly what you've done, and that's going to start to make a lot more sense. So yeah, get rid of this bit here about question and visual analog skills. Just get rid of it altogether because that's bringing in other variables that's just going to confuse the whole thing. I think that perhaps we started off doing that and then you've changed your mind. So that's fine. What have I said? Oh yeah, you've got this lovely research question here. Just make sure you put it in bold and it stands out. Same with things like the fact that you've got the observational quantitative design. Put it in bold, make it stand out so that the person marking your work sees that you can use proper psychological terms, and you can use them appropriately. So that's just a little bit about what things that you should put in bold. Get rid of this hypothesis. You've got a research question. You do not need a hypothesis. This is actually just confusing things, so get rid of it. Stick with the one research question that you've got that is lovely written, it makes perfect sense, and answer the research question. Now, I feel like I don't want to go too much further into this, Brianna, because I've given you a lot of information, but we just need to make sure that your proposal matches your introduction, which matches your data. So if you could fix up that proposal for me, and so that it's very similar to the introduction, and then it makes perfect sense of the data, that would be great. Change, as I said, change those titles here to what they actually are, which is like different sized, increasing size chunks of information, and change the names down here. Time taken to recall lyrics, you've got seconds, which is good. Now, what I like about this graph here is it's got a really nice range. It goes from 0 to 4 seconds. That's lovely. This one here it goes by 0.5 seconds. So what I want you to do is make these scales identical, because you're actually comparing non-musically trained participants with musically trained participants. So they need to be to have exactly the same increments going up. Otherwise, you can't compare them. It is misleading to the reader. So keep them the same. Give this a title, which is syllable size or step size. And the other thing you need to do is call this graph 1, and then average recall time for not musically trained participants. Get recall, just check your spelling. And this one you're going to call graph 2, average recall times for musically trained participants. Okay, so I had a quick read through that, and that's reading fine. I haven't gone through it with a fine-tooth comb because I really want this bit fixed up first, and then I'm going to go through the next bit with you, okay? So see how you go fixing that up, and send it to me ASAP. I'm back on track with marking, so hopefully I get the next draft back to you really quickly. And hopefully this way of giving you feedback is helpful. You can replay it, and of course you can jump on Teams and ask me any questions as well. I can post this on Teams, so I'll post this in your channel, and this is a channel for you to talk to me, to ask me any questions about it, and we can just speak directly about your work on that channel. Okay? All right. Good luck, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya.